Good afternoon, doctor and my fellow friends. We are from group 3. Today we want to present about the topic 10, motivation and emotion. Our group consists of 11 dedicated members to work collaboratively to present this topic.
So good day to everyone. So today I would like to present about the motivations. So here is a definition for the motivations. So motivation is referred to the internal drive or force that push someone to actions. So it comes from the words from the Latin words movers, which means to move. So it closely related to our needs, urge, and behavior. So for example, when we are hungry, right? So we will need create a drive that we up by finding the food. So in simple terms, motivation is what spark and sustain our actions. Besides that, the motivation also serves to two main functions. The first is like a driving force to help us take actions, and the second thing is help us to adapt to the environment, especially in challenging situations. So without the motivations, it will be difficult to achieve the goal or make a positive change in our life. So here I have the two types of motivations, which are intrinsic and also extrinsic. Intrinsic motivations come from within. Is when you do something is because you enjoy it or you feel personally responsible. For example, you play sport is just for fun because you feel happy, and or you want to cleaning your room because or you enjoy the organizing you need all is tidy up like that. Okay, so another motivation is extrinsic motivations is driven by outside reward like money or grade or something else like the you wish to have the better outcome. So for example, like you playing the sport, you take part the sport competition, you just will win the medal, win the money or reward, or you clean the room or just to avoid scolding by your mommy. Yeah, that's all for types of motivation.
My name is Ong Kashin. Good day to everyone. My metric number is 292988. Now I'm going to present about the biological theory. For the biological theories, it suggests the motivation originates from our body's physical process, including the brain, hormones, and also instincts. These are all essential for our survival. For example, the hunger, thirst, sleep, or the need of the reproductions. There are three different theories I am going to mention and also present. First is instinct theory, second is drive and reduction theory, third is the arousal theory. Instinct theory is actually some behaviors happen naturally without the learning. For example, the bees will build a nest by instinct, and humans also possess the basic instincts such as self-protection and also caring for others. Second is the drive reduction theory. So the physical needs like the hunger create a drive to the motivates us to act. Once the need is satisfied, the drift reduces and the body returns to the balance. We call it homeostasis. The arousal theory, the people seek an optimal level of stimulations. Too little leads to the boredom, too much causes the stress. This goal is to maintain the balance for the best performance and also the well-being.
Good day to everyone. My name is Ong Xiao Wen with message number 292965. Now I will present about the psychosocial theory. Psychosocial combines with two words which are psycho and social. Psycho is referring to our mind, emotion, personality, thoughts, belief, and our internal experiences, while social is referring to our interaction with others, including our relationship with families, friends, and the community, cultural influences, and the environment that we live in. So, psychosocial is described how our psychological, which is inner development and well-being, are constantly influenced by our social, which outer environment and interaction, and vice versa. The psychosocial theory is developed by the Erik Erikson. The picture shown here is the 8 stages of the psychosocial development. So the first stage, which is infancy, which will happen trust versus mistrust. Second, in early childhood, which will happen autonomy versus shame and doubt. In the preschool, will happen initiative versus guilt. In the school age, will happen the industrial versus inferiority. In the adolescent stage, it will happen the identity versus role confusions. And in young adulthood stage, it will happen intimacy versus isolation. Next will be the middle adulthood, which will happen the general relativity versus stagnation. And the last stage will be the maturity stage, which will happen ego, integrity versus despair. Now, let's connect the psychosocial theory to incentive theory. Incentive theory suggests that external reward or positive feedback will pull us towards certain actions. In Erickson's framework, these external pulls will motivate us to successfully navigate each stage of challenges. For example, when a baby cries, getting a comfort response of food uh, will act as an initiative. This positive reaction will pull them towards feeling secure, helping them to resolve the trust versus mistrust crisis positively. Besides, let's link the psychosocial theory to cognitive theory. The cognitive theory focuses on how our thoughts, interpretation, and belief influence our actions and motivation. In Erickson's stages, how we think about ourselves and our experiences will directly impact how we overcome each challenges. So the example here is the integrity versus despair in the stage of maturity. If an individual think I live a good life or full life, they will feel a sense of integrity. However, if they think I wasted my life, I have so many regrets, these thoughts can lead to feeling of despair.
My name is Wan Xianghui, matrix number 293113. I will continue with the biopsychological theories, include the Maslow hierarchy of needs, which the human needs are arranged in a hierarchy with physiological needs at the bottoms and the more creative and intellectually oriented self-actualizations need at the top. The higher up the hierarchy, the more difficult to satisfy because of the interpersonal and environmental barriers that inevitably frustrate us. The higher needs become increasingly psychological and long-term rather than the physiological and short-term, as in the lower survival-related needs. So in the picture, we can see about the Maslow hierarchy of needs, and the bottom one is the physiological needs, which consists of the A, water, foods, shelter, sleeps, and so on, and following with the safety needs, which is the personal security, employment, resource, health, and so on, and the love and belongings, which is the friendships, family sense of connection, as and the following with the esteem, which is respect, self-esteem, recognition, status, and the last one is the self-actualizations, which is the desire to become the most that one can be. The Maslow believed that the humans are trying to fulfill demands that are higher in the hierarchy of needs.
Emotion. Emotion is an evaluative reaction, either positive or negative, that arises from a person's nervous system as it is triggered by the stimuli, either from external factors such as object, weather, people, situations, or internal factors such as blood pressure, blood sugar level, hunger, and drowsiness. There are three functions of emotion. The first one is generate energy within a person to behave. The second is act as a shaper of future behavior. And the third one is serve as an effective means of communication. There are a few types of emotion, which are happiness, sadness, fear, surprise, anger, love, and so on. Next, I will continue with the category emotion. There are two category emotions, which are primary emotion and secondary emotion. Primary emotion are the innate, universal emotional response that are experienced by all humans, regardless of culture or background. They appear early in life and are automatic reactions to certain stimuli. The key characteristics are immediate and instinctive, not learned, biologically programmed. So the example of the primary emotions are happiness, sadness, fear, anger, and so on. While for the secondary emotions are reaction to primary emotions and are more complex, often influenced by personal experience, beliefs, and thoughts. The key characteristic of secondary emotions are learned and shaped by environment, often involve self-awareness and reflection. Examples of the secondary emotions are guilt, shame, pride, and embarrassment.
Good day, everyone. Now I will continue with the emotional theory. The first emotional theory is James Lang theory, which developed by William James from United States and Carl Lang from Denmark. In this theory, it emphasized that our body works as a pivotal role to work and respond through nerve, which create wave from changes senses by the brain as a result of emotion, which means that a person will interpret the emotion, then respond to it, and become aware of their response. At the same time, the emotion is differ depending on a person's ability to control. For an example, if you see a snake while walking in the forest, it will immediately lead to an assessment of danger, which your body might react by making your heart race and causing you to sweat. As a result, your first response is running away. Next, the second emotional theory is Cannon-Bart theory, or also known as emergency theory, which developed by Walter Cannon and Philip Bart. In this theory, it emphasized that emotions felt by humans happen automatically and can vary from different persons. Emotions are produced through the interaction between the outside world and the brain, specifically when the hypothalamus is activated. A person will experience physiological arousal and emotion at the same time. There are two directions of brain sending out the output for our human. The first one is the brain get a message and send it to the cortex to help to feel the emotion. And for the second one is the brain send the message to body to show the physical sign of the emotion. For an example, when you see a growing dog, your brain instantly and automatically interpret it as the threat. They trigger the emotion of fear and causes physical changes in your body like a racing heart. This reaction is fast and unconscious, and it can vary between individuals depending on their unique brain and life experiences. For example, someone will run away and someone might be not afraid because they grew up around dogs.
Next is the Sketches Singer theory. This theory was developed by Stanley Sketches and Jeremy Singer. This theory was suggests that emotion is determined by psychological arousals alone. According to the Sketches' early idea, when you experience arousals like your heart beating fast, that arousals itself directly causes the emotion. There is no need for cognitive interpretations or labeling in this view. The bodily response is enough. As example, when someone sees a threat like a wild animal, their body will react, heart race, shooting start. Then they assess the situation, realize it dangerous, and label the emotion as real. So emotion come from the both body response and thinking. Next is single two-factor theory of emotion. This theory was introduced by Stanley Sketches and Jeremy Singer in the 1960s. The Sketcher single two-factor theory of emotion is a theory outlining two components of emotion: an initial psychological around and a subsequent cognitive process. The cognitive identification or label of the emotion is assigned based on the person's immediate environment. One principal component of this theory is the interplay between physical arousal and the cognitive identification of that arousal. According to the Sketcher single theory of emotion, in order to feel an emotion, a person must both feel a psychological arousal and label the arousals. In this context, psychological arousals describe the physical processes of the body like increased heart rate, perspiration, trembling, blushing, or appearing pale. In the example, we can see the man see a tree turning where his body was react, his heart pound, and he sweat. Then he interpret the situation by thinking that is a scary bear. Based on both the body reaction and this thought, he feel fear. This is the Sketcher's single theory where emotion come from both arousals and cognitive labeling.
Good afternoon, Professor and my fellow classmate. I am Ho Jin Fei, Mathematics 2981X6. Now I will start presenting with the subtopic emotional management. Okay, why is emotional management necessary? This is because learning how to process emotions and respond appropriately can help us make rational choices and develop relationship with others. So, what are the steps to manage emotions effectively? First of all, we need to identify the emotions that is being faced, such as anger, sadness, happiness, and its trigger, which start from thinking about it, then creating feelings and exhibiting through actions. For next is uh, self regulations. We need to manage on emotions by taking the opportunity to control our emotions to determine how long they need to stay within you. We need to control the emotions to maintain it or stabilize faster. So, for example, we can use deep breathing to quickly calm down. The third step is empathize for others. So, an individual also need to recognize the emotions of others by practicing empathize in order to understand the situations or emotions of others at the time. These are the steps to manage emotions. And finally, after getting to know the emotions of others and successfully manage oneself, then the positive relationship and intimacy can be formed in building positive and effective communications with others. This slide will present how gender shapes emotional expressions. From here, we can see there are many factors, and for the first factor is the emotions most expressed from different gender. Uh, Female will express more emotions in happiness, sadness, and fear, and for the males will express more in anger, pride, and neutral. The second factor is biological reason. Female have more higher the estrogen, make them better in emotional recognitions and more tears. And for males, have more higher testosterone, make them less crying and faster anger reaction. And the third factor is social influence. Female will be taught be kind and share feelings, encourage them to express emotions, and for males will be taught to be strong and don't cry, force them to hide their sadness and show anger instead. And the last is this will come out the mental health risks. Females will easily get anxi- anxiety from overthinking emotions, and males easily get depression from hiding their emotions.
Emotional intelligence. It refers to the ability to recognize our own feelings, the feeling of others, and the awareness in managing emotion well with us and in maintaining relationship with others. According to the Goldman 1995, EQ is divided into four main abilities. The first one is self-awareness. The second one is self-management. The third one is social awareness. The fourth one is relationship management. So we can see through the image of Daniel Goleman model. The first one is self-awareness. It refers to what I see in the perspective of personal competence. This refers to your ability to accurately identify your own emotions. The second one is self-management. It refers to what I do in the perspective of personal competence. This refers to your ability to manage your emotion and behavior to make a positive outcome. So the third one is social awareness. It refers to what I see in the perspective of social competence. This refers to your ability to identify your emotions and the tendency as interaction occurs. So the fourth one is relationship management. It refers to what I do in the perspective of social competence. This refers to your ability to manage interaction constructively to make a positive outcome. So we can see through the table self-awareness in recognitions of self-emotions. It includes self-confidence, awareness of your emotional state, recognizing how your behavior impact others, paying attention to how others influence your emotional state. The second one is self-management in regulations of self-emotions. It includes getting along well with others, handling conflict effectively, clearly expressing ideas and informations, using sensitivity to another person's feelings like empathy to manage interaction successfully. The third one is social awareness in recognitions of other emotions. It includes speaking up on the mood in the room, caring what others are going through, hearing what the person is really saying. The fourth one is relationship management in regulations of other emotions. It includes getting along well with others, handling conflict effectively, clearly expressing ideas, informations, and using sensitivity to another person's feelings like empathy to manage interactions successfully.
Hello everyone, my name is Ng Wei Heng, number metric 293947. Now, I will present the facial expression and perception. It has five expressions. There is facial expression, vocal expression, expression psychology, body movement and sight, and emotional action. The first is facial expression. It is a form of non-verbal communication, able to convey emotion from a person to the person. Observing it and it also displayed by individual can be influenced by the experience, information, and cultural research by the individual. For example, when a person is sad, he will be dropping upper eyelid, losing focus in eyes, and slight pulling down of lip corners. And if he is angry, he will eyes brow down and together, eyes glare and narrowing of the lips. The second is vocal expression. It can be seen in the tone of voice and the order of pronunciations. It usually a person's vocal tone will change according to the emotion they are experiencing. For example, when a person is in an angry situation, it will raise their voice and those who are sad may find their conversation slower. The third is expression psychology. When emotion change then the psychological condition will also change, even if it is not feel directly. For example, when you are afraid, your heart rate will increase, your body will tremble, your hair will stand on end, your muscle will tighten. That's all from me. Now, I will pass to my friend to present the another two expressions.
Hello everyone, my name is Taken Ho, metric number 293332. Now I will present one of the facial expression and perception that is body movement and sign. Body movement and sign often referred to as body language. It is a form of non-verbal communication which means expressing oneself feeling and thinking without using words. And it often done unintentionally and unconsciously. And body movement and sign including three parts. The first is gesture. This means using hand or part of body movement to express an idea, emotion, and command, like waving, nodding, and using hand sign. Second is posture. This means the way of position or hold your body, especially when you are standing or sitting. The third is movement. This is physically action or change in your body position, including how you walk, figure, and react physically. For example, if someone is in love, they will be nervous and are more restless, smiling to themselves without realizing it. There is another more example of body movement. On the position of arm, if someone cross arm means that they are defensive, self-protective, and crossed off. If someone's hands is on the hips, means that they are ready and in control, or it is a sign of aggressiveness. On the parts of mouth, if someone pupil sometimes beat their lips, means that they are warrior, anxious, and stressed. If someone tightening their lips, means that they may be distressed, disapproval, and distrust. From the gesture mean hindsight, they have many meaning, and the meaning is different based on the country. Last of facial expression and perception is emotional action. It is a physical or verbal behavior that come out when someone is overwhelmed by emotions, especially strong ones like anger, sadness, or joy. For example, when someone is angry, they may throw object, shot or curse repeatedly, slam door, or storm around. These reactions are a natural emotional response to help someone cope. Once they act out, like screaming or crying, their emotion often become calmer and less intense afterward. The link between motivation and emotions. What's the role of them? Motivation plays an important role in shaping and developing a person's emotional response. It drives individuals to act, in certain ways, often influenced by how they feel. Emotions act as a mechanism they control all aspects of human behaviors. When someone feels a certain emotion, it will create a motivation to take action that match the emotional state. For example, feeling fear may motivate someone to run away. Feeling love may motivate someone to get closer to others. When a person experiences an emotion, it usually means that a certain type of motivation becomes active. Every person naturally tries to maximize pleasant emotion and minimize unpleasant emotion. This can be done through motivate actions. For example, if someone is feeling stressed, they may listen to music to feel better.
Now, after we seeing these firms, we need to have a reflections for our topic, which the first is the intrinsic and extrinsic motivations, which the Chris drive to succeed his son's future for the internal values, and the $20 reward for solving the Rubik cubes, which is the external incentive. So for the Maslow hierarchy, from the homelessness which unmeet the physiological when he sleep in the subway bathroom with his sons while his safety needs are compromised as he flees an unpaid taxi fare to securing the job which achieve his self-actualizations. The emotion theorist is the James Lange. The movie shows his cry in the bathrooms, a physical reaction that lead to an emotional sense of despair. And the Canon Bards is the trembling and fear simultaneously while homeless show body and emotion co-occurs. For the arousal theorist, Chris thrives under high stress to excel in his internship, illustrating the Yerkes-Dodson curve, which optimal performance occurs under moderate arousal. So, in short, the firms show how motivations and emotions theories play out in real struggle, making them more relatable and memorable. So that's all for our groups. Thank you.